Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to StarCub Review. I'm your host, as always, StarCub. And on today's agenda, I am going to talk about a good old Aussie favourite of mine that started all the way back in 2010 and ran all the way up until 2017, and that is the Aussie comedy drama series Offspring, which I have spoken a little bit about in my highly recommended Aussie TV shows programs, and I spoke a bit of it about it in there. But this time I'm going to be doing a full-blown, just a good talk about it. The characters, the actors and actresses, and why I think Offspring should be viewed by Americans. It's a very, very well done Aussie series that has a lot of heart, substance, comedy, heartfelt moments, heartbreaking moments at the same time, but ultimately it really does give you a good depiction of Aussie life. It's set in Melbourne, but inner north of Melbourne. But it gives you a really good depiction of just everyday Aussie life, the dramas and stuff like that. But before I get into that, I will leave you all here, and I'll get back with the review after this introduction. Okay, welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, as always, StarCub once again. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritties of Offspring and why I think all Americans should give this show a chance. Oh, just my viewers mainly, but anyone that's watching this, give Offspring a good chance. It's on HULU at the moment, and Offspring is basically a very, very eccentric look at Aussies, and the main character, Nina Proudman, played by Keddie, absolutely amazing actress. She is a downright funny as hell in this show, absolutely funny. And it's centered around her, and it's basically all her narrative drama and comedy, and it's done in flashbacks, graphic animation, fantasy sequences, but it's very dysfunctional. She comes from a very dysfunctional family, and she's very OCD, but also at the same time, she's so eccentric in the way that everything is planned out and done in this show is just absolutely hilarious. It has a lot of, like I said, as the show keeps progressing, it does have its really heartfelt moments, funny moments, interesting moments, like, oh my god, they went there. And it does have a lot of heartbreaking moments in it, and I'm not going to discuss those, but as the series does go on and we are introduced to her family and her friends and lovers and all of that, the show is just a really, really good look at how Aussies function, and particularly as we follow Nina. She's in her 30s, she's an obstetrician, and she delivers babies, and her co-workers on the ward that she works in Melbourne are just some of the funniest characters you'll ever come across. And I know not everyone it's going to be everyone's cup of tea, considering it's an Aussie thing, but the humor, you'll see a lot of our humor in it, and I don't know if Americans will understand our humor as such, but we have a very particular humor, and this show really does depict that humor, and it is very, very, very funny, trust me. But like I said, the main cast is Usher Keddie, Kat Stewart, Deborah Mailman, Richard Davies, Linda Cropper, Eddie Perfect, John Waters, Don Hannay, Alyssa Gardner, Lacey Hume, Jane Harbour, Matthew Lee Neves, Ido Drent, Ben Barrington, Patrick Bramall, Alexander England, and TJ Power. Now that's all the main cast over the course of the 7-series run. Her family dynamic is Usher Keddie is Nina Proudman. Kat Stewart plays her sister Billy Proudman. Absolutely fantastic. She is hilarious in this show as well. Deborah Mailman plays her best friend Cherie Butterfield. Richard Davies is Jimmy Proudman. That's Billy and Nina's brother. The dynamic that those three have throughout the entire run of the series is some of the best dynamics I have ever seen with actors and actresses. It is absolutely, hands down, a very good depiction of brothers and sisters, and the dysfunction that comes with it. Just the way that they interact with each other is absolutely amazing. They really bounce off each other, and it's just so well done. Linda Cropper plays Geraldine Proudman, that's their mother. John Waters plays Darcy Proudman, their father. Eddie Perfect plays Mick Holland. Now, Mick Holland is Billy's boyfriend, and he's a musician in this. And fair dinkum, he is a wonderful actor as well. He is funny, hilarious. He goes with it. He follows his girlfriend around. And the dynamics that Billy and Mick have are some of the best I've seen relationship-wise as well. And over the course, but you get to know them more and more and more, you get to see a whole wide scope of the problems that they have, the heartaches, the good moments, the bad moments, the silly moments, and the funny moments. It's all there. It really, really is. And as the show goes on, it's all culminating with Nina, and she's 30-something. She's young. She's professional, but at the same time, she is very eccentric. She withholds things. She's very namsy-pamsy, like, oh, I don't know if things. It's her personality. It's like, it's all over the place, but this is what makes the show. It's just, they're so well. And Lacey Hume, he plays Dr. Martin Clegg, who's their boss, that's Nina's boss at the hospital. And oh my God, talk about eccentric. He is beyond eccentric. He is hilarious. He's funny. He's the perfect balance of just belly laughs, potty humor, you name it, it's all there. I mean, even the co-workers that she works with, which is Deborah Mailman, who plays Cherie Butterfield. Cherie Butterfield is absolutely hilarious. And Deborah Mailman is absolutely fantastic as Cherie. Absolutely fucking fantastic. She is amazing. Kim Ackerholt, who's another one of the co-workers, she's hilarious. And Zara, Jane Harbour, she plays Zara. And Zara is, oh my God, when you first meet her in that, she's like the schoolyard bully. I remember, it's just like she's like one of the main hot chicks, but when you look at her, she's also one of those really popular chicks from high school that is a real bitch. And her humor in this, Zara's humor, is quick, witty, it's straight to the point. She doesn't take no bullshit. The jokes that Zara, Cherie, and Kim have, their little banters that they have in the hospital, is just so hilarious. And the antics that they get up to in this Melbourne hospital is absolutely hilarious. Oh my God, I've never laughed so hard in my entire life. And with Offspring, it really does bring all that together. And it does it in really exciting and really cool ways. You know, Nina sometimes will just go off in her own fantasy world, and it's displayed with either flashbacks to when she was younger or a teenager, or her fantasy segments are done in little animations, and it's really funny how it's shot, how it's written. It really does. And it's like, oh, she's having another daydream. Oh no, she's having another dream. And some of her dreams that she has in the beginning of the show before the credits, the starting credits, is absolutely hilarious. Some of them are just like, oh, I got you, girl. I've had that dream before. Or I haven't had that one yet, but you know, I could do. It is, the cast are just absolutely fantastic for this Aussie comedy drama. It is hands down, it was one of the best Aussie TV shows that I have watched in years, and that's just one of them. But Offspring was just, it's one of those ones where I've revisited it probably a few times. I've seen seasons 1 through 7 probably 3-4 times, and I'll probably go back and watch it and watch the entire series again. It was just a fantastic series, because as the series goes on, they get more mature, but then they face more problems. They face heartaches. They face hardships along the way. They face adversity here and there. They face lots of things that everyday people struggle with. Whether it be pregnancy, whether it be hormones, whether it be period, whether it be PMS, whether it be, you know, depression, whether it be drug addict, whether it be alcoholism. There's all that in there as well, and it really does shine out of the characters, because some of them are, as dysfunctional as they have flaws. They're human. And as you go on this journey with the Proudmans, it's one of those things where you ultimately come away from it after every season going, oh, I just want more and more. But you know it's coming to an end very, very soon. Especially when you watch the season 7, the last season, it's like it's ultimately coming to an end. Now, I'm not, there are some flaws within the show, and it does show. The first couple of seasons, season 1 through to 4, were absolutely amazing. The whole series is amazing. But from seasons 5, 6, and 7, there are some choices in the show and different directions that they took, which I kind of thought was a little bit of a, like, why did you choose to go this route? Why did you choose to do that? Why did you choose to stuff up this character's storyline? And it does show, and I'm a little bit pissed off with how some of it turns out, because when you think that you know, Nina's back and being stable and is going on the right track, it all goes downhill. But I suppose that's the way that it was, you know, intended, because there's a lot of walls and defenses and that Nina comes across throughout the entire 7-season run that ultimately challenges her for the final season, where she has to make some of the biggest decisions of her life, and what direction she's going in, how the show ends. Like I said, it has its flaws, and there's choices that they made in seasons 5, 6, and 7 that changed the course of some characters' storylines for the better, but also some of them for, like, they could have fleshed it out more, and they could have gone with it more, because I feel like some of the characters that are let down in it later on, Patrick Bramall, who plays Leo Taylor, he comes into it in season 5. And all I can say potentially, and this is, I'm just going to do a little bit of a spoiler alert here. He is a love interest for Nina during season 5. He comes into it, I think, a little midway in season 4, but then he's a main character in season 5. And the way that he's handled throughout that is fantastic, but then after season 5, when it comes into season 6, I'm not going to really give anything away. It really pisses me off what they do to his storyline. That really makes me go, ugh, I really didn't want that. And that really sucks because I really liked Leo. But that's the only hints I'm going to give you. But as a whole, Offspring is an amazing show. All the Aussie actors and actresses in this are just fantastic. Do all of them, do the guest stars work in that? Yes. Supporting cast? Yes. It all works. It all fits. It all melds into a really funny, heartfelt comedy drama series that really ultimately really shows Aussie life, but albeit it also internally shows us that we're all human at the end of the day, and we all make mistakes, whether, in the show it depicts having an affair or screwing up with your sister's, you didn't get your sister's pills, or you didn't come to your sister's birthday, or you didn't go to your brother's, traveling expo, or whatever the case. I'm just putting stuff out here. Like this, the family of the family we follow, the Proudmans, is ultimately, it's told in such a genuine way that this is how Aussie life really is. Whether you do have family dramas, whether you have adopted brothers or sisters, or flesh and blood sisters, or half flesh and blood brothers and sisters, it ultimately shows that, at the heart of it all, Nina Proudman is the heart and, really one of the heart and souls of the show. But ultimately, altogether, it's the Proudmans and her friends that ultimately really come together and just explode. And it's such a great combination, because by the end of it, although it has its flaws, it does really end on a new note. It ends on a note where you could basically go on and go, oh, it doesn't need another series. It doesn't need this. But I will say there is room for a season 8. And take note, Australia. Take note. I really hope they can get the entire cast back for a revival show of it. But I know that Offspring was having a lot of production problems and being shipped to other channels and trying to find funding, because we only can go up to a certain point where we can get the funding to do these shows. But then after that, it's basically, it costs a lot of money once you get past a certain threshold, production company wise and stuff like that, with grants and stuff. So ultimately, I hope they make a seasons 8, 9. I really hope they do a revival series, because I would like to see them now, because it finished in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. It's virtually been 7 years since it ended. And I feel like it really needs to come back with a revival and really show where all of them are now, 7 years later. Very much like what we did with Packed to the Rafters when it officially finished. And then there was a revival series of Packed to the Rafters that was brought out by Amazon. Now, ultimately, that only had 1 season, which I'm depressed about as well. But it does show you that there's a demand for Aussie shows, especially with something like Offspring. It was extremely popular. And I wholeheartedly think that my audience should give it a go. But also, anyone else there watching that's American, give it a go. Offspring. It used to be on Channel 10 in Australia, but it's now on HULU. So if you have a HULU account, get onto it, people. I'm telling you now, Offspring. It's an amazing show. You may not agree with, you may not get a lot of its humor. You may do. But I think everyone should give it a chance because it is a fantastic series. It really, really is. But other than that, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I know this is a bit of a long one, but I am going to be doing a couple of videos here and there on certain Aussie shows that I have did a little mini review on to give people more of an in-depth look at some of the TV shows that I grew up watching. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you all with another video very, very soon. All right, guys. Ciao.